Hi, Matt with etrailer. Today we're going to talk about the ARB portable twin air compressor. Now this will be a great option if you're looking for something that's powerful, portable, and is going to be able to get you through a lot of situations, especially if you plan on doing any type of overlanding or off-roading. And the reason why I recommend this more for those off-roading or overlanding situations is just the overall design, because it is a very strong and sturdy compressor, and the reason being is because we have this case. There's a couple things that go into this. It's going to be designed to work in those different type of climates, so even if it's really hot or really cold outside, it'll work just fine. And on top of that, when you do have this in the case in the back of your vehicle and you're throwing something back there, it's going to be less likely being damaged because this thing is sturdy. On top of that, when you are driving down the roads or any type of rocky situations, a lot of times you're going to get a lot of vibration, a lot of rattling, and the way this is designed is to help keep things nice and secure so it doesn't get damaged over time, get a lot of that wear and tear. And you're still going to get something that's very compact. As you can see, this is a 2-motor compressor, and a lot of times once you get bigger compressors, they're going to take up a lot more room. It's nice that we're getting this nice square shape that's going to be just easy to work around, especially when you are camping. You want to save as much space as possible. So today we're really going to be focusing on 3 things. We're going to talk about how it's going to work and actually air up some of our tires, because that's going to be the main case for this. And then after that, I'll go into some of the specs, and then finally I'll give you my opinion and some comparisons on this. So this is going to be perfect if you plan on going on any trips with a lot of friends and you all need to air up your tires before you get back on the road, but you want to do it quickly and you don't want to really waste any time. This is going to be the one you want to go with. Now there's a lot of other compressors out there, and if you're looking for something maybe not as fast, maybe it's just you going out by yourself a couple times a year, then I'd recommend the single motor by ARB. And again, if you don't really plan on doing any type of off-roading, then I'd probably go with Bulldog winch, because they're going to have a double or dual compressor, and that's going to work just as fast or a little bit faster, but it just won't be as sturdy and strong, and we won't have this nice casing. But let's kind of focus on the compressor now. We can go into the specs later on. So when you want to get started with it, you want to make sure it's on a fairly flat surface so it doesn't fall off. Right now we have plenty of space to do that, and we're going to start off by making our connections. Now before I do that, I'm actually going to turn on my vehicle because I don't want to connect this and kill my battery. And with our vehicle on, we can start plugging things up and getting power. So once we have power, we can hook up our air hose. It's also important to make sure this is turned off. The way you can tell it's turned off is we're going to have this toggle right here. It should be pushed on the ARB setting. When that's done, then we can grab that air hose, and right here, it's going to have 2 ends. It's going to have a male and a female end, and we're just going to connect it. And with that connected, we can turn this on. Now this might take maybe a minute or 2 to just compress, because we do have this tank right here. So we'll give it a few seconds and then we'll air up our tire. When you're ready to air up your tire, you're just going to need to make sure you have the right type of fitting. So this type of valve, it's just going to be a quick connection one. I like that because it doesn't take up too much time to air up the tires. You're just going to plug that into your hose, put a little bit of force into it. It's ready to go now. Now we already deflated our tire by 20 psi, so what I'm going to do is air our tire up now just to see how long it's going to take. It's been about 30 seconds, so I'm going to check out how it's looking. So I'm just going to hook up the gauge. And we're looking at just about 29 and a half. And what we had it before was 17. So in about 30 seconds, it went over 10 psi, which is pretty dang quick. Earlier, I actually had the single version of this hooked up, and it took about a minute to get up to 10 psi, so this is about twice as fast. And really 30 seconds air up 10 psi is kind of crazy. So what I'm going to do now is actually use my gauge to air it up the rest of the way. This is actually an ARB one. If you don't have one, you can use this one on our website or find one on our website like this. I like this a little bit more just so we can monitor how much airflow we're getting. So It just makes it a little bit easier so you're not taking the spec on and off again. Now we just finished airing up our tires and it took about 1 minute or a little bit less than that just to get it up over 20 PSI, which is really impressive. If I compare that to a lot of other ones, most other compressors won't be able to compete with that. That's going to be partly due to the CFM on this being around 6. A lot of other compressors don't even reach half of that. We're also going to have a really high PSI for this. That's going to be sitting at around 150, and some of that's going to be thanks to this internal tank we have that kind of help us reach those higher heights. But since we're talking about some of these specs, let's actually dive a little bit more into that. While the PSI and your CFM are important things to know about your compressor, something else that's going to help you a lot too is going to be your duty cycle. And this one has a really impressive one, being that it is 100%. So what that basically means is you can run this full time without taking any breaks. So when you're out with your friends and you're ready to get back on the road, you don't really have to take any breaks in between airing up everyone's tires. If I were to compare this to other types of options out there, like the single motor version of this one, that one's going to be at a 50% duty cycle. So what that means is you'll run it for about 30 minutes and then it'll get a little bit hot. Then you'll have to give it a 30-minute break until you can start running it again. So if you're really cramped for time or there's a lot of things that air up, this would probably be the better way to go. Like I was saying earlier, this is actually built to withstand a lot of different types of climates. So whether you're in those extremely cold conditions or really hot conditions, you can take it because it's going to have a type of thermal protection built into the motor. So that will give you a lot more peace of mind and make it more efficient even when it is cold outside. Something else it's going to have is a lot of different types of fittings. Here's the one I used earlier for our tires, but if you have any type of other items or accessories you want to use with this, you can. There'll just be different types of fittings for them. What I also like about this is there's going to be a lot of great storage places for these. So right here in the very front of it, we're going to have this pocket. I like this personally because it keeps everything nice and organized so I don't lose anything. And on top of that, we're going to have this air hose. And what this air hose is for is if you ever need to clean anything off, dust any type of debris that's on any of your gear or items, you can quickly do that with this air hose. And it stores really neatly in this pocket right here. In my opinion, I think this is a great option for anyone who is looking for something that's just really efficient, that can just withstand quite a beating and get you through those off-roading and overlanding conditions. Now, again, this will be a more premium option compared to some other things around. And it's really going to be something if you are planning to go out constantly with a lot of friends, need something fast and efficient. Now, if you're someone not really doing any overlanding or off-roading, again, I still recommend the Bulldog winch. This is going to be something a little bit more affordable. And right now I just have the smaller one, the single motor one. If you want something faster, they do have a larger one that's going to have a CFM of 10, which is going to be extremely fast and will air up your tires quick. Now, it won't have a 100% duty cycle like this one, and it's not going to really be built for those off-roading conditions. And the reason why I say that is because of even the casing. So if you look at the casing, it's just going to be a softer bag. So if you're throwing anything in the back of your vehicle, it's more likely to get damaged. And those internal components just aren't really made to withstand that much rattling and those bumps. And even those harsh conditions, especially those extreme cold and heat conditions too. But that's just a look at some of the features of the ARB Portable Twin Air Compressor. I'm Matt, thanks for watching.